Hello, everybody in Facebook world. How are you? This is Danny Hidalgo, and I hope you guys can hear me. All right. Hello, everyone. How's everyone doing? This is Tiani Hidalgo, and I am joining you live. And in one moment, I will be joining on IG as well. Awesome. Hey, IG world. How's everyone doing? I'm super, super duper excited. I'm doing a double live right now. Double. I'm going double. I'm on Facebook and I'm on IG, and I hope you guys can hear me okay. Please holler if you can't hear me. Hey. Hey, everybody. Awesome. Okay. So for those of you who are on right now, I am going to do a... Awesome. I'm glad you can hear me. I'm going to do a meditation in my Facebook group. So I will post the Zoom link over there for those of you who want to join live for that. Hey, Nandia. Hey, Annette. How's everybody? Okay, cool. So I'm here also on Facebook World in my group, and I'm super excited because today, we're going to talk about chakras and crystals and life purpose. Oh my. I had to do it. It was calling my name. All right, so I'm really excited about this because it's kind of been my sort of secret tool, if you will, for a very long time that I use for myself, to be honest. Like, I've kind of been collecting crystals for at least 10, 15 years. And I don't know if you guys saw my posts and I think I did a video also that I posted on just some of the crystals that I have here with me. It's a lot of them. So I've been collecting them for a long time. So I can attest to the power of them and the intention that I've set with them, and how I've been using them to heal others through some of the prana killing practices that I do, and meditation, and just simple things that you can use them for, which I'm going to get all into that later on. So I think we should get started. What do you think? I think we should. So today is kind of like a one-on-one, okay? And so because of that, I want you all to feel free to ask questions as I'm talking. If you have any specific questions about, specific crystals, I'm super happy to share, what my interpretation might be. And if you have any questions about specific things for yourself, where it's like, okay, well, what crystal can I use for this, that, or the other? Definitely type it in, and I'll either say it out loud or I'll message you back with the crystal that I think is the best for you, okay? But for now, let's get into sort of the one-on-one on what crystals are, what chakras are, how they work together to help your life become more purposeful and more balanced, right? That's really the reason why people use these things. Okay, so what are they? So I have a trusty visual here of the chakras themselves, okay? These are chakras. And chakras are basically energy centers in the body. The term itself actually means spinning wheel of energy and light. And it comes actually from a Sanskrit word meaning wheel or disc. And they basically say that, these beautiful wheels of light called chakras, they take in energy and they emanate energy, right? And basically they affect all the functions of our bodies at a spiritual, mental, emotional, and physical level. So in essence, keeping our body's health in balance. So I kind of like to compare it to the nervous system, because you have your nerves run from the top of your head to the tip of your toes, and all the nerve endings like innervate all the different organs of your body. All the different organs of your body, and all the limbs and the skin and all of that stuff. So similarly, these chakras innervate, right, and energize the different areas of your body. Let's see what else. So it originated in India between 1500 and 500 BC in one of the oldest texts called the Vedas, and only in the last century, in 1918, really almost like 100 years ago, truly. Those two were translated. There were two Indian texts that got translated by two men, and they created a book that introduced this whole chakra theory to the Western world, and that's kind of how we, understand it now. And that system became the seven chakra system that we kind of hear about today. So that said, that's kind of like the sort of the backstory of what chakras, how they came to be. There are actually seven major chakras, and I say major because there are actually many more than that. There are major chakras, and then there are minor chakras. So like you have chakras in your eyes, in the palms of your hands, in the bottoms of your feet, things like that. And as a pranic healer, I actually use them very often, depending on the ailment of the person. I'll use them to heal that part of their body, right? But for all intents and purposes for this 101, we're going to talk about these seven major ones, and we're going to get into sort of the meaning of each one, the colors, and also relevant crystals. 108 at least. You have 108. Oh, chakras. Yes. There's a lot. And there's also chakras that are not even on our bodies, that they go like in different dimensions above, different dimensions below, outside of us. It's a whole, we can go talk about that. It's a whole education on its own. But for today, we're going to talk about these. Okay? So the major ones are the crown chakra, which is the one right here at the top of your head. The ajna, which is in between your eyes, which is this blue one. So they all have colors, by the way. This is either white or violet. This one is purple, which is your ajna. The blue one is your throat. Then the green one is your heart. The solar plexus is like right below your rib cage. Then there's the root chakra, which is where your sexual organs are, the bottom of your body. And then your base chakra, which is where your spine ends, right? That's the sacral chakra. So let's talk about them a little bit more, because chakras are super important, and they're very helpful for your life and for your body. Like I said, they basically affect the different layers of your body. So what does that mean, right? They're influential on these levels. And so the first one being the physical. So at the site of where the chakra is located, right, they actually influence those particular glands, organs, nerves, whatever is around there. They pretty much like enervate, and emanate energy for those particular glands, organs, and whatever. So, that's a pretty important thing, right? Because we're all dealing with chi here, and I'm sure you guys know the term chi. And if you don't know, chi is basically life force energy, right? And so they all work with life force energy, and so that's how they kind of energize whatever is around that particular chakra. But you can actually activate it and energize it even more through breath exercises, meditations, asanas, mantras, yoga, and also energy work. Obviously, if you're an energy worker yourself, if you're doing energy on yourself, or if somebody's working on you, all of that stuff pretty much helps you, energize or cleanse or any of those things, ground them, things like that. So that's the physical level. Then there's the astral or the energetic level. And basically the vibration and the energy flow of the chakra influences like the consciousness and also the physical health. So for example, if I ate bad food, if I'm around bad company, like company that has negative energy, or if I myself have negative thoughts, it basically reduces the chakra. It like kind of makes it smaller energetically, and it blocks the chakra as well. So you've probably heard people say, oh, I know how to unblock your chakra, or I know how to energize your chakra, or ground your chakra, all these different things. That's kind of where it comes from. And a lot of that stuff is influenced by your daily activities, right? Like, what you eat, who you're hanging around, your own mental thoughts, your own physical activity. Like all these things influence it at a astral or the energetic level. And so when there's issues, it basically causes disorders of consciousness and illness in the body. Does that make sense? Any questions about that so far? All right. So we talked about the physical, straight physical. We talked about the astral and energetic level. Now let's talk about the spiritual level, because chakras affect you on all levels, right? And the spiritual level is where like intuition, wisdom, and knowledge is received. So when people, meditate, I don't know if you've, I'm getting chills talking about it now. Some, like when I've been on a real rhythm of meditating even multiple times a day, I mean, it's incredible because not only do I feel at peace, but I actually start receiving information, right? And I won't get into the details of where that information comes from. That's another whole class on its own. But basically, you open yourself up, if like your energy up to receiving good information. So, for example, when I was meditating a lot and I had set an alarm, I would literally know that the alarm was going to ring like seconds before it rang. Or I would meditate with a specific question in my mind, and I would know the answer, by the end of the meditation or in the middle of the meditation. Like these are the types of things that, can happen when you're meditating. Imagine what happens when you're meditating and concentrating on a chakra or with a crystal and, and a chakra, like amazing things can happen. So let's get back to the story. So this is where intuition, wisdom, and knowledge is received, like I mentioned, and that's the energy that awakens. The energy that awakens all the chakra is called Kundalini. Now, it's said that the rising of the Kundalini is the process of awakening in consciousness. And the Kundalini usually starts at the root chakra and moves up all the way up to your head. And again, that's a whole nother practice that people can do, but basically it expands your consciousness, awareness, and it gives you clarity. So the more you raise your Kundalini and energize your chakras, and not in like, because you can actually energize your chakra in a bad way too. Don't get me wrong. Like just because you energize it doesn't mean it's good. You can actually do yourself a disservice too. I always set intentions to balance things. So for example, when I'm working on a client, I'll test out how the chakra is, how it's doing energetically. And then I'll know whether it has too much energy, too little energy, or whatever the case is, right? So that's really important to know that, energetically you can actually affect it both ways, positive and negative. But at the end of the day, if you're raising your Kundalini in a healthy, balanced way, it actually activates your consciousness and expanded awareness, which is why I was getting all this information ahead of time, right? This is the amazing thing about chakras. Any questions about that? And like I said, you can get into a whole practice around Kundalini and raising your Kundalini. But again, you have to do it in safe and balanced ways because people have gotten in trouble for doing it incorrectly and then things happen. I won't get into those. Okay, so you guys ready to hear about the relationship between chakras and crystals? Anyone? Anyone? I hope you are. I'm going to take a sip before I get into it. Feel free to ask any questions at all in the comments. I will leave this video up. And don't forget that at the end of this, if you go to my group, I will be doing a live meditation to balance all your chakras, which I've been doing on a weekly basis. So I'd love for you all to join. Okay, so let's talk about crystals. I love talking about crystals. Crystals are so amazing. And I like to talk about crystals like this. It's funny, I wish I had one that kind of looked like a megaphone. But I like to say that crystals are like megaphones because they are expanders or amplifiers of energy, right? Awesome, cool. I think there's a lag in the comments. But anyway, they're megaphones or amplifiers of whatever intention you set for them. So interestingly, even though certain crystals have specific missions or purposes or properties, you can actually program your crystal to do other things. And there are specific crystals that you can do that with, and that allow you to do that. And there are others that don't, right? But basically, it's about amplifying the intention of that crystal and the energy of that crystal. So how do they work? So basically, the crystals have like physical properties that hold and emit energy, okay? It's been said that there are crystals that hold, our history of however millions of years on this planet even, because there have been caves found with crystals that are forever million years old, right? So they say that, they hold information as well. Just like they say that water holds information too. But I digress. The physical properties of these crystals actually allow it to hold and emit energy. And they basically act as a power hold for healing and amplifying of that healing intent. And then you can basically use them to, do something positive with them to heal someone, to bring positive energy, to flow that into the body, do away with negative energy, toxic energy, and energize things. So it's basically like a loaded crystal. And then you can use it for whatever intention you want it for. Does that make sense? It's an amplifier, and then you can use it as a tool. And that's what I use it for. So I'll caveat that with, I'm a big proponent of people being their own gurus. You can actually do energy work on yourself by yourself. And actually, when we work with crystals, like for example, I'll show you one of the crystals that I use in pranic healing is this one. This one is a crystal wand, right? And really, this is just an amplifier of my intention for use. So when I use it, I basically am intending to cleanse and balance whatever dis-ease I'm finding in the person. But the reality is I could just as well use my hands, right? And actually, when you start learning pranic healing, you do start with your hands as the base of all healing. And then you learn that you can use crystals to amplify your ability to bring that energy and heal whatever's happening with the person. But that said, I am not the healer. The energy that I am, sort of emanating and pushing through the crystal is the actual healer. And then you, of course, are using that energy to heal your own body. So really, I'm kind of like a vehicle or a channel for your healing. Does that make sense? Any questions on that? Just let me know, because that's a really important thing. Like I was saying, you are your guru. You are able to heal yourself by yourself. These things are simply tools to amplify your ability. Okay? Okay, so let's see. So, as I was saying before, how, with chakras, you can go too far. You can, to energize too much or deplete too much and things like that. Same thing happens with crystals. They can also hold negative energy. So one of the things that I always recommend for people is that they cleanse their crystals. So when I work with that crystal wand, like I mentioned, this one, I always, and this is a quartz crystal that's, it has a point and it has gold at the end and it's super amplified, okay? And so, what was I going to say? Oh, there's a question. How do you know what crystals to use? Great question. So we're going to get into the chakras, what they are, and then the crystals that you can apply to each of those according to what your need for that chakra is. Okay, so I'll get into the details of that. But I was going to say is that whenever I use my crystal wand, I always say that I want to balance whatever's happening in that particular chakra. That way it never goes too far in either direction, right? You don't over-energize and also you don't over-deplete it and, do something that it won't work for the actual chakra itself. I hope that makes sense. Another question. Do you hold the crystals in your hands or place them on the altar when you're meditating? Great question. So I know people who create altars for their meditation practices. That's not my particular practice. I know people who do that though. I am a huge advocate of holding the crystal itself, and actually there are many crystals that you can use for meditation. For example, this beautiful amethyst, you can see it's so nice and like deep purple. That's a really amazing stone and crystal for meditation. So when I meditate, I'm actually holding the crystal in my hands. And, when you're starting your meditation, you're intending that, this crystal serve your meditation for whatever you're meditating for, whether it's relaxation, peace, a particular, reason that something is going on in your life and you want to release it, whatever that is, you can actually ask of the crystal to help you amplify that request. Yeah? Here's another question. I'm curious to work on my energy on myself. I've started in small ways. Awesome. That is awesome. I can actually post a link, I think, to a meditation from a doctor that I know that created a really amazing meditation that you can use for energy healing and energy work. And as you guys know, I also do meditations that allow you to do your own healing as well, because as I'm going through the meditation with you, you are actually an active participant in the meditation as well. But if you want more practical, I guess, schooling and education around it, there's tons of, courses that you can take around energy healing. Like for myself, I've done Reiki, I've done quantum touch, and most recently I did pranic healing. So I know all of those modalities. Me, myself, I love being an active participant in the healing process. Again, I'm not the healer. I'm just the sort of like the medium or the advocate, the middle person between the healing and you. But there's so many ways. But the reason I like pranic healing the most is because you can actively use crystals and you set the intentions and you use the chakra system. Like I feel like it's a really nice cohesive system that works to balance everything out, if that makes sense. Okay? Okay. Keep questioning, keep asking. Annette, I hope that answers your question. And Keisha, I hope that helped as well. Okay, and Priya, you too. Okay, so crystals come in many colors and different properties. Okay, so from like jasper, red jasper, that is super duper red, almost like it's darker than my nail polish, right? And carnelian, that's also super red, all the way to the clearest of the clear, right? Which is crystal quartz, right? These are all clear, all the way to the darkest of the dark, which is, this is tourmaline, right? And then everything in between. There's blues, there is greens, and there's even metals, like this hematite, and it's actually magnetic. So there's all different colors and all different sizes for all different needs, okay? Oh, good. I'm glad I answered your question. Cool. Awesome, awesome. Yep, go ahead and keep asking. Yeah. And I'm going to show you some of my favorites because I have some really big ones here that are mama jammas. I call them like my crystal mama jammas that are really, really awesome. But basically, you choose a stone that is related to the chakra that you want to use it on, according to the color and the property that it actually has, like what it serves, okay? Today I'm going to name one or two, actually I think I made a list of 3 for each of the chakras that are beneficial for that particular chakra. And I'll talk about the chakra and its property and the relevant stone so that you can use it to work on the chakra yourself, okay? So we're going to go over that with this in a minute. All right. So you might be wondering, like, why are crystals and chakras Why is that combination super important for a purposeful life, right? Because I talked about this being a class about chakras, crystals, and having a purposeful life. Well, the reason it is because the brass tacks of it is that you can amplify whatever you want more of in your life or heal things that aren't going well, okay? So I'll go into this right now after I take a sip. So for example, the crown chakra, yeah, which is at the top of your head, is the color either violet or white. And the purpose of this chakra is universal truth and higher self. It's basically your connection to your energy source, universal source power, God, you know, whatever you want to call it. And so there are a few chakras that are super useful for clearing, amplifying, and helping that particular chakra. So for the crown chakra itself, things like clear quartz, right? I have two of them. I think this is a Brazilian, it's either Lemurian or Brazilian. I forget which one it is. Or this crystal, right? They're both quartz. Selenite, which is super good for clearing as well, right? Those are really good for the crown chakra. And there's also white calcite, which I don't think I have an example of here in my little stash. But basically, you can use those, you can either meditate with them, you can use them with energy healing. And actually, crystal healers, often what they do is that if you get like a official crystal healing session from a crystal healer, not a pranic healer, they'll actually put certain stones on your body and intend that those stones clear out, balance, etc., depending on what's going on in your body. So that's why these things are important. So now for the Ajna, this is purple, right? And this is all about insight and clairvoyance, yeah? It's like your third eye. And so the one that's related to that, because guess what the color is? Purple. Is the beautiful amethyst that I showed you before, right? This beautiful, deep purple. It's amazing. And obviously they come in different styles and different colors. Like this one is a little mini tower. And this one is a palm stone or a pocket stone. So they come on all different sizes and colors. There's also purple fluorite. I actually have a combination of fluorite, and it's like a purple and green. So it can actually be used for this, or it can also be used for your heart, right? Because it actually kind of serves a dual purpose. And there's another one called lepidolite, and I can send this. I can post this later on, the list of all the crystals that are relevant. So then the next one is your throat chakra, which is blue. One of my favorites is lapis lazuli. And I'll use this actually when I'm about to do a presentation for work, or if I'm going to have a conversation with someone and I'm a little bit anxious about it. It's actually a really amazing stone for clearing out your throat chakra. There's also aquamarine and aqua aura. I mean, there's a whole bunch of different styles and colors. You can see this one is kind of like a rainbow quartz as well, which can serve multiple purposes. Okay, so then the next one, and so the throat chakra is all about expression and communication. So even though those are the colors to use for that particular chakra because of the relevant color, you can actually use other stones for expression and communication. For example, carnelian also has the property of communication and expression. So don't think that just because it's that color, you have to use it with that chakra. You can, and you can set the intention for that, but you can also use other stones that have those properties as well. So like you can meditate with this, right? Irrelevant of whether you're trying to access your chakra or cleanse your chakra around it, you can actually just do a meditation with carnelian or just have it around you, and it can help amplify that area. If you guys have any questions so far, do let me know. Okay, so the next one is green. It's your heart chakra. And the one that everyone knows the most is rose quartz. Now, I have in my room, I didn't bring it out here, but I have this huge, triangular, um, basically like a pyramid of rose quartz, and I actually sleep with it. Like I have it next to my bed. Um, Now, sleeping with your crystals. Now, whenever you receive a new crystal, first you have to cleanse it, and you can cleanse it in a variety of different ways, again, depending on whatever the crystal is. It has a way to cleanse it. Like, for example, selenite, you cannot put selenite in water because it will disintegrate because of the property that it is. But you can use a sage stick, you can use Palo Santo, you can cleanse it with the light of the moon, the light of this. I think the sun is not good for selenite, but the light of the moon for sure. So some of them are kind of sensitive, and so you have to be really careful with how you cleanse them. But yeah, so basically, like, rose quartz is amazing for the heart chakra. And also, because the color is green, right? Because if you notice, this isn't green, but it's known, rose quartz is super heavily known for having to do with heart and emotional things, right? The other colors are like Amazonite, or even, right, this like fluorite that has green in it, right? And malachite, which is also green. So again, don't get swayed by the color only. Make sure that you look at the properties of the crystal itself. And at the end, I'm actually going to give you a couple of resources. I have a bunch of books here, and I have an app also called the Crystal Guru. It's an app called the Crystal Guru where you can get all the details of most of the crystals. Not all of them, but most of them. And you can get the details of that. So rose quartz, Amazonite, and malachite are 3 amazing ones for your heart chakra. For your solar plexus, which is right below your ribs, solar plexus is all about self-esteem, willpower, and wisdom. It's all about like moving forward in your life, feeling confident, having self-esteem, having wisdom, willpower, moving, okay? And the color for that one is yellow. So one of the ones that I love to use is citrine, and I actually created a grid in my home, and I'll talk about grids later. But I created a grid in my home using citrine because citrine is awesome for your solar plexus, but it's actually also awesome for abundance. It creates abundance in your life. So how awesome is that, right? And so some other ones are pyrite and amber. You guys know amber. Amber has like that sort of brownish yellowish color, right? Which is perfect for your solar plexus. The next one is your sacral chakra. It's your zone where your sex zone is, basically. And it's all about sexuality, procreation, and creativity. And so the color is orange. So you could actually says that you can use carnelian for that particular location. You can use aragonite and sunstone. So a lot of the ones that are like, orange, like this one is kind of a combination of orange and white. This one as well. Basically, you can use all the ones that are of similar color. I think even tiger's eye can be used for your solar plexus. And again, whenever you use a stone, you got to cleanse it, and you have to program it to serve whatever it is that you need it for. So I'm going to keep saying that over and over. Make sure that you do that. Okay, and then the last one is your root chakra, which is at the base of your spine. And it's all about family, prosperity, and survival. I call it the abundance zone. It's all about being supported and feeling abundant. Prosperity, survival, connections with your family, connections with people. It's all about bringing all that stuff in and then kind of grounding yourself, right? And being, balanced and rooted in this reality. So red jasper is an amazing stone for that. I think red jasper is so pretty. It's like the color of like your liver, right? So pretty. It's like a dark red. You can also use carnelian because carnelian is reddish as well. And then garnet and what was the other one? Oh, actually this one is mookaite because I have it as a pendant. Mookaite is really pretty. It's a really pretty stone. It's like multiple colors. So all of those stones are really good for working with that specific chakra. Yes, I will post it. Don't worry. I will. I'll try to send a link out to this puppy that I put together. Okay. Any questions on that so far? I know we're like 39 minutes in. If you have any questions at all on stones, on the properties, on things that you want to use it for yourself, things like that, feel free to chime in. Okay. So again, how is it relevant to purpose in your life? Obviously, all these chakras are related to your life, right? Universal truth, insight, expression, communication, love, self-esteem, power, wisdom, sexuality, creativity, prosperity, survival. All of those things are make for a purposeful life because you want all those things to be in balance, right? So, but when it comes to purpose specifically, because you guys know I do some purpose coaching as well, there are specific stones that you can use for purpose. So here are two examples. Check this one out. This is chrysanthemum. It is basically like embedded in a rock from like God knows when. Right? How beautiful is that? And basically it activates dormant skills, talents, and abilities and draws in unexpected opportunities for you to connect with your purpose. How cool is this stone? I got it like maybe 2 years ago. It's amazing. I always have it around when I'm working on my business or working with a client, things like that. It's basically like embedded in there. You see that? Couple questions. Rose quartz, how do you clean it? Rose quartz, you can actually water or moon or sun. Actually, rose quartz is one of the ones that you can pretty much do anything to. You can put it in water to cleanse it. You can put it in the moonlight, and you can sage it or palo santo it. The safest thing to do is smudge it. Smudging, I don't know if you guys have ever heard that term. Smudging basically means cleansing it with smoke, right? That's pretty much the safest thing you can do for any stone. When in doubt, smudge it, right? Smoke it. Like use sage, or my favorite is palo santo just because I love the smell so much. But palo santo and sage serve that purpose of cleansing your stone. Thank you. Yeah, I think they're gorgeous as well. So this is really good. And also moldavite. I don't know if you guys can see that. Moldavite is green. And it's basically like a meteorite that landed on Earth. And this is, obviously this is a pendant, but you can get it as a stone. I have it as a little palm stone as well. And you can wear it, right? You can wear these stones. You don't just have to meditate with it and do energy healing with it. You can actually just wear it as long as you keep cleansing it. Like this one is a, oh, I forgot the name of it. It's basically like a diamond before it becomes an official diamond. Herkimer. It's a Herkimer stone. Herkimer diamond. And I carry it all the time because it's a cleanser, right? It allows me to cleanse my environment, my mind, like everything. And so I constantly bathe with it so it gets water on it. Sometimes I palo santo myself or sage myself and cleanse it and things like that. So those are two things you can do. I'll give you guys a couple of looks at my favorites. This Mama Jamma right here is labradorite. Look how gorgeous this is. When you move it around, it changes color because it has embedded within it the actual stone. I got this when I went to England last year. I went to Glastonbury. How beautiful is this thing? It was the most beautiful thing I've ever seen. So labradorite is really good for transformation. And so I use it often when I'm working with clients because I want to create an environment that's safe and that's transformative for them or myself, and myself as well, right? This is an amazing stone for transformation. Tourmaline, I have a big one for that too. I think I showed it before. Tourmaline is super good for having around the house along with selenite. Because they ground, well, this one, tourmaline in particular, grounds your environment and your energy, and selenite cleanses it as well, right? So when I create a grid for, cleansing a home, I'll create a grid using like tourmaline and selenite, for example. And then here's another really beautiful one. It's a smoky quartz. It's always nice to get some really big pieces that you connect to. Aside from going to a crystal shop to pick out things that obviously you think you need for yourself. I'll talk about grid in a minute, don't worry. Aside from picking stones that you feel like you need them, like, oh, I need to fix that or clean that or whatever, you can also just pick up stones that you feel you resonate with. Like, you can actually hold them in your hand and like feel the energy of the stone. Like this one, I love this one because this is a cleanser. You can feel the energy of the stone and see like, does this feel good in my hands? Does it feel good for my energy, right? It's all about the energy. Everything is energy, okay? Oh, here's another one. Black agate. This is actually a bookend. Super pretty. So you can use them for aesthetic purposes too, even though that serves a purpose also. It cleanses the space. But so many things. And this one is one of my favorites, apophyllite. And I actually have a really big piece near my bathroom for apophyllite. This actually raises the vibe and the energy of the room that you're in. So it's amazing. And then there are things you could do to charge and cleanse things. So for example, I use this selenite plate and I place the crystals on top. And that cleanses and charges it. And I can do that overnight, that kind of thing. So these plates are really cool. Remember, the selenite you can put in a room and it cleanses the room. And then I just recently, I don't know if you guys saw, I posted this. My friend actually got me this water, water glass, whatever. And it actually has crystals at the bottom. And you can actually interchange the crystals at the bottom. So obviously you cleanse the crystals and you program the crystals to clean your water or to energize your water. This particular combination is called Vitality because it has Amazonite and a couple of other quartz and things like that. And you put the water in it and you leave it, I think they said, for 20 minutes, and it actually energizes your water. Now again, you could do this yourself. You can energize your water and your house and everything yourself. But these are tools, right? These are all tools that you can use for your own benefit, for your own life. Okay. And obviously you set the intention for these things to work, right? So if I'm going to use citrine to bring abundance, I'm going to cleanse it, program it, and set the intention that whatever I do with it, it serves the intention of creating abundance for my life, for example. Okay? And then some things that you can do with it, I already mentioned, is you can meditate with it, you can wear it like I have, and I wear bracelets that are made, like this one is citrine, for example. This is mookaite, and I'll wear that sometimes. I love wearing moonstone, especially during my time of the month. And also garnet during my time of the month because it helps soothe you during that time. And so the last thing I want to talk about is creating a grid in your home. A grid is basically a composition of stones that serve a purpose. So not only can you use the stones to actually clear the different chakras and things like that, right? You can actually use it to build a grid in your home. So for example, I have a grid next to my door right now that has, guess what? Tourmaline, selenite, and labradorite, right? That big mamma jamma you saw. So what does that mean? That means that I cleanse it and programmed it so that whoever comes into my home gets completely cleansed and that they don't bring any negative energy to my home, that everything in my home is grounded and is uplifted, you know? So that's one grid. So grids can be like, for example, 3 stones together in a formation, right? 1, 2, 3. This is a simple example. The grids that I work with serve a purpose because they also have sacred geometry, and that's a whole nother level of crystals. And I can go into sacred geometry in a whole nother class because that's a whole nother like science. But when you use sacred geometry, like the seed of life, which is like a combination of circles and things like that, you can place the different stones on that geometric grid and then state the intention. You know, you can make a whole kind of like a ritual out of it so that you really energize that particular intent that you have. So right now, for example, I just created a grid two weeks ago using carnelian, using red jasper. I always put quartz because it's an activator. It activates the grid. And so it's a pattern basically that I used to intend to have more abundance in my life. And so right now I have it like in a specific place where I keep a lot of my crystals. And so I pass by it every once in a while and I'll just like feel the energy and energize it myself and, thank it for the purpose that it's serving, things like that. The other thing that you can do with a grid is grid your home. So not just create a little grid that you can put in, the front door or something. You can actually place stones in the corners of your like room. So for example, like my bedroom, so that I can get amazing sleep and peaceful sleep, I can place, amethyst at every corner. And that's what gridding means. It means creating literally like a grid around your space. So in every corner, I'll put like an amethyst or something like that. And then I'll put like a quartz in the middle, which activates the grid. Does that make sense? That's what a grid means. So I have a little announcement, which is that I'm actually going to start creating and selling specific grids that I'm going to energize for whoever desires it for different purposes, for abundance, for grounding, for energizing, for love, for all these, for different things. And so these grids are going to be special stones that I'm, obviously going to purchase and vet them myself and create kits out of them so that you can take them to your home and put them in your house, or put them in the classrooms, or put them in the front of your home, in front of your door. And there's actually a lot of really amazing grids that you can build. So for example, for kids right now, it's all about using their brain power, right, and having them be as calm and chill as possible while they're learning. So a grid that I'm going to be putting together is something that uses like hematite, for example, which is like a metal stone, right? And this is really good for a brain. It's like basically the stone of the mind is what they call it. It's really good for children. And actually, I gave my son 2 of them, and they're like magnetic with each other so that he can play with them. It's actually pretty cool. So it's going to be a combination of like hematite, tourmaline, which I mentioned, which helps you ground, and also a little bit of rose quartz, right? Because you want them to feel comfortable and loved even in the space of online schooling or whatever kind of schooling that they're doing. And there was another one. Actually, this one also helps for anxiety as well. So it's not only a stone for the mind, it also helps you ground and stabilize your mind. So for those who have like, a lot of emotion around school or anxiety around it, it's amazing for it. So I'm going to start putting those grids together so that you guys can use them however you need them. So whether you put them, in a specific altar, if you will, and create an altar for yourself and pass by it and energize it yourself, or whether you create a grid that fills your entire room, it'll be for whatever purpose you need it for. Is that cool? So let me know if you have any questions about grids. I'm super happy to answer questions about that. I've been using grids for a little bit now, and I'm really excited to make them for everyone. Okay. So while you guys write questions in, basically this whole course was about chakras, crystals, and a purposeful life and how they all integrate. So I hope that I served that purpose well. And I think I've discussed it in a lot of detail, so I hope that was really useful. But aside from me being, helpful to understand all this stuff, I'm going to send a link to whoever needs it. You guys can also DM me, private message me, and I can send you the PDF of this. I just created this today for this class in particular. So I can give you that, and it includes a little list of the chakras that are good for, the crystals that are good for that chakra. There's a whole book on grids, which I've been reading as well, which I love this book. And I actually tagged the lady who wrote the book, I think she's in Germany. I forget what country she's in, but she was amazing at responding back to me, and super grateful for me tagging her. So that book on grids, amazing. The complete illustrated guide to crystal healing. You can't go wrong. It's like an encyclopedia along with the Crystal Bible, right? Like these are all books that I personally, these are my books, the ones that I have. And then I bought this really, really, really pretty one called Crystals by Julia Van Doren, and it's just gorgeous. I don't know you, but I think, ooh, my list of crystals. I think crystals are absolutely beautiful. So anytime I see crystal books, I'm constantly like looking at the pages and looking at all the crystals. And look at that one. Guess what that is? Citrine. That's what mine looks like. You can even see it from far away. And it basically tells you everything about these stones, what chakras they pertain to, how to cleanse them properly, and how they serve you and how you can use them to serve you. So it's pretty amazing. And then the last thing is the app, which I think I mentioned earlier, called the Crystal Guru. It has amazing things about specific crystals that you want to learn about. It doesn't have everything, but it has a lot. I think that the Crystal Bible probably has the most about crystals. Yeah. It's like literally like multiple, lots of pages. So cool. Hey, Bonafide Gem, like the topic. I want to learn more. Thanks for sharing. Yeah, my pleasure. My pleasure. Please feel free to share this. Comment if you have any questions left about crystals. And I'm your source for energy healing, for creation of grids, and for whatever personal needs you need for your space, and for energy healing. So I'm glad I was able to serve you guys today. If you have any questions left, feel free to write in the comments below, and I will wait a few seconds. Thank you so much for joining. I hope that was helpful. This is one of my favorite topics to talk about, in case you haven't noticed. I mean, I built this whole thing for it. It's amazing. I love crystals. I have like a library of crystals in my home that I use all the time, and things that I sleep with all the time, and that I work with all the time. So, if there are no questions, oh, one last thing I will say is that there are also crystals that you can use for, like, I guess etheric purposes, spiritual purposes, like aqua aura, rainbow aqua aura. You can actually use it to connect to your guides, to the spirit realm, and things like that. So, you know, it's not just practical uses, it's actually also like spiritual uses as well. Awesome. All right, so for those of you who are on IG, I'm going to do a chakra healing session in my group on Facebook. The group is called Purpose Driven Tribe. So look me up right now so that I can add you if you want to join. I'm about to post the link, the Zoom link in there, to join me for that particular meditation. So I'm going to do a full meditation to clear all the chakras. And thank you so much for joining. Appreciate you. Feel free to ask any questions and forward this to whoever needs it. I'm here to serve you, and I'll see you guys very soon. The next few sessions are going to be slated toward talking about each individual chakra and some of the crystals that that are really useful for it in detail. When is that? The meditation is like right now. Like I'm about to go over there to the group right now. Nandini says, thanks for sharing. Loving how much this connects to my own Santana Dharma. Awesome. Namaste, my friends. We're all on a spiritual journey here. So the more tools that we can use to serve us and to help us and guide us, the better. So I'm happy to talk about this stuff. So again, go to my Facebook, Purpose Driven Tribe, and I'll add you, and then you can join the Zoom link for the meditation to clear all your chakras. Okay? Talk to you soon, guys. Bye.